If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
Reese on the radio. Whack FM.
All right, ladies, buckle up. It's showtime.
What's going on, Carl? And what's going on the rest of you out there, you scallywags? You know what time it is. It's time for the world's most hated and the most racist online show in America. It's the Reese on the Radio Rundown. And it's always a joy to be here, folks, as we do it every weeknight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, or as they say in the hood, specific. And I know a lot of you Negroes are over there on the Simi Braxton program, but, you know, he ain't talking about nothing. Get your ass over here for some real news and some real views given to you by the one and only Reese on the Radio. And I've got plenty to get into today. Apparently, we have information on the shooters. That's right, plural, shooters out of Sacramento, California. And it turns out that one of these shooters, he's an aspiring rapper. He's an aspiring rapper. Ladies and gentlemen, this aspiring rapper, he's got hit singles. Okay, I don't know whether or not they're hit singles, but I know they're on YouTube and on SoundCloud. I don't know what qualifies as a hit nowadays with some of these rappers. I know, 3 of them. Yes, he's got plenty of songs on YouTube. I found a few. I'm going to play them for you today, and we'll talk about those 2 young men. Brothers, apparently, who have been arrested. In fact, one of the rappers is a young man. One of the shooters is, what's his name? Hold on. I had his name here. And I thought I remembered it, but I have so much other stuff to remember. Oh, Dreadamac. What's up, Dreadamac? He's on lockdown, so he can't hear us talking about him. But Dreadamac is his name. He will get some love tonight because apparently he's got some... he's got a hit single. It's called Cutting Up. So we will play that today. I have to admit, Carl, I've listened to the song. I did listen to the song, okay? And it is definitely, no Luca Alexander.
Let's go, Brandon. Hey. Let's go, Brandon. Hey. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
You know what they saying, ho.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
You know what they saying, ho.
Let's go, Brandon.
Well, you know that's a hit. I don't care what you heard. That's a hit. That is a damn hit. Number 1 on iTunes. That song right there, which we play for you exclusively right here on the Reese Radio Rundown. So that song will always get love. But we'll play Dreadalock or Dreadamac, whatever the F his name is. We'll play his song today called Cutting Up. It has foul language, so let me warn you ahead of time. There is foul language in the song. But we'll get your opinion on whether or not it's trash and whether or not he should actually serve time for releasing this garbage. That's what we're going to find out. Also, we'll talk about his little brother as well, or his older brother, whomever it was. We've got to get into Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson, who I'm hoping I can talk to Rick Walker in North Carolina because he knows this guy. And we'll talk about what Mark Robinson said at the church over this past, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. He said of a church. We'll play that because there's video of that that's circulating where he was talking about transsexuals in the school. We've got to talk about that. Being a rapper has a mortality rate of like Chernobyl crew. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to talk to you about this Jacksonville, North Carolina teacher. I got to get into that. That's going to be a part of the news. This is amazing what this teacher said. And it brings all of this stuff full circle about these people wanting teachers to teach your kids about sensitive topics. Here, a teacher kept it real. And people already have a problem with it. So we're going to play that audio, play that video. And Mark Dice, one of my favorite people in the world, went around California asking people what they thought about reparations for black people. What he does next will surprise you. And what the people do when he asks them is even more surprising. So we have to get into that. We'll also get into Amazon has a union president. He has gold teeth. Who knew? We'll play that video. Also, BLM, $6 million on a California home. And people are now trying to make some comments about Black Lives Matter, the global network versus Black Lives Matter, the movement. And I am here to tell you folks today that the two are not separate. No matter who tells you anything, the two are not separate. And I'll explain why later on today. Dr. Fauci is also in the news. As I promised yesterday, we'll get into the Vanity Fair article where hundreds of documents were leaked from EcoHealth Alliance and Peter Daszak's outfit. And what led to the coronavirus as we know it. It is very interesting. We'll get into that. What Dr. Fauci said about natural immunity in 2022 versus what he said in 2004. We'll talk about Piers Morgan and Will Smith. And we got to get into this because, folks, it was me, yours truly, who said why the Will Smith slap needed to be ignored because the Academy wants to talk about what's outrageous. Well, think none other than Roman Polanski. And Piers Morgan did an article in the New York Post yesterday citing exactly that. And then some more Joe Biden news and how the vice is coming down on Hunter and Joe. So anyway, all of that and so much more. But you know the drill. It's time to get into some news. Here's the story that we led with yesterday.
That breaking news in Sacramento. Police have just confirmed they have made one arrest in yesterday's mass shooting. They also tell us they served search warrants at 3 homes in the Sacramento region. Sacramento's police chief Kathy Lester says investigators have been working around the clock since the shooting happened about 2 a.m. yesterday morning, and they continue to look for answers right now. So here's what the chief told us about the arrest just minutes ago in an exclusive interview with KCRA 3's Ty Steele.
We do have one person in custody. He's 26-year-old DeAndre Martin, and he was arrested in connection to the K Street shooting.
Now, the DeAndre Martin, he's been arrested in association with the K Street shooting. Now, I'm going to play what Kathy Lester is going to say here, the next line that she says about DeAndre Martin and why he is a person of interest and also why he was arrested. Listen to this part.
He was taken into custody on assault with a firearm and being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm.
Being a prohibited person with possession of a firearm. Now, remember yesterday when I talked about all of these people running around making claims of, we need more background checks. We need to have background checks. Oh, do we now? We need to have background checks. Well, DeAndre Martin here, no relation to Trayvon, is not supposed to have a weapon. He is a prohibited person with a firearm. So he clearly didn't go down to the gun show, go through a loophole, and get said gun. That's obvious. So no matter whether or not you have every background check in the book, it wouldn't have prevented old DeAndre here, or Dredamac, his rap name, that's him right there, Dredamac, it would have prevented him from having a gun that night. And apparently, he is the shooter. They believe he is the shooter. Along with his brother, oh, he's a winner as well. That's him right there. Oh, the hell. Yep, if they weren't criminals, you'd swear they were rappers. Which is where I come from, they're one and the goddamn same. Yeah, but that is, and this one, folks, hold on to your hats. This one, the first one, as I already told you, is DeAndre Martin, no relation to Trayvon. And this is Smiley Martin. Yes, that's his name, Smiley. Apparently, they gave him that name, ironically. I'm just saying that he does not look like a smiley person right now. That's all. Oh, is there another one in custody, Carl? Oh, there must be some new developments. Okay, no problem. Listen, send the link. I will definitely grab that. But this is Smiley. Yes, and Smiley, apparently, he is DeAndre's producer. But you know what? Without further ado, let's do it. Cutting Up is the name of the track by DeAndre. Let's actually make sure we put DeAndre's picture up here. So let's get rid of Smiley there. There he is, DeAndre. He's a rapper, and I guess that means something. But here's Dredamac and his song Cutting Up. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the language used in said rap song because these brothers have no grasp of the English language, and they have to use F-bombs and S-bombs all the time. Again, here it is, Dredamac, debut right here on the Reese Radio Rundown with Cutting Up. All right, already sounds corny. Oh, Breezy is on the beat, y'all.
Middle fingers to the air, they got me fucked up. Slicing through traffic, I'm cutting up. My bitch a track star, she gon' run it up. I'm talking cash, if you not, niggas shut it up. Niggas ain't built like me, they ain't cut enough. Cut enough, cut enough. They ain't built like me. Niggas ain't built like me, they ain't cut enough. Cut enough, cut enough. Niggas ain't built like me. If the bitch don't fuck the team, she ain't make the cut. Bet the drink and the drugs turn her to a slut. Got her boyfriend saying he gon' fuck me up.
Okay, let's just get to the bottom line, folks. For those of you who are listening online, who are not watching the video, on this video on YouTube is a picture of DeAndre. DeAndre here with his back to the camera, holding what believes to be a semi-automatic weapon, with his back to you, wearing a pair of acid-wash jeans, hanging low, of course. There appears to be some weird thing plugged in. It's like his cell phone is plugged into the wall at his waist. There's a plug at his waist against the wall. He is facing the wall for some reason. And there is a singular shoe sitting in a bare cupboard to his left. Apparently, his rap career is to hopefully make sure that they have they get some food on these shelves. Because there was one lone sneaker sitting up there. Yes, I agree with you, Carl. This song is total and utter trash. And I can't play it. No, it's not a Christmas song. But it is the gift that keeps on giving. That these two pieces of trash, DeAndre and his ironically named brother Smiley, have been arrested. And Carl has just informed us that a third member of the group has been arrested. And they will stop calling this a mass shooting immediately. Okay, because mass shootings are reserved for white people. They are not reserved for young black thugs shooting up neighborhoods. It's just not. And they immediately called it a mass shooting at first because it was like, people were just running to that idea. But now that there are young black men involved, this will just be an area shooting in the hood. Were they shooting at each other? I do not believe that Smiley and DeAndre were shooting at each other. I do believe that they were shooting at a rival group. There is some video of some pushing and shoving going around with another group that got into some altercations. They were a Latin, Spanish, Hispanic, whatever it is that they're being called this week. Another group. They do believe that the two groups were, or some people believe that the two groups were rivals in some way, or became rivals that night in question, which caused all the gunfire. But as we know, that there was some 100 rounds shot, and even if Smiley and DeAndre here were two people shooting, they could not amount, unless they reloaded, they could not amount to 100 rounds being fired. So maybe there were some other people. And now that Carl has expressed to us that there's a third person in custody, maybe we'll find out. Discount Tupac versus Biggie. Yeah, I'm going to go with bargain basement on this one. But yeah, that's them. So this story will go away because you know why that the media will never, ever, they're never going to turn this into what would be the Marjorie Stoneman school shooting or Sandy Hook. When you find out that two of the shooters are young black men and maybe the other shooters were Latino, they have their own term for this.
Nigga. Nonsense.
And that's what it'll be. It'll be, and you know it's true. Anyway, in other news, this is Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson of North Carolina. Now, I told you on this show, folks, that the African-American community, back in 2008, some 74% of the African-American community was opposed to same-sex marriage and was opposed to gay lifestyles. And with this phenomenon in the African-American community, that they were the only ones who hadn't become woke enough to accept it. They were just quiet. That it is true that they are not for this, let's just say, demonic behavior being taught in schools. They just don't have the gravitas or the ability to fight back because I don't believe they want that fight for other reasons. But Mark Robinson does want that fight. He is the lieutenant governor of North Carolina and could very possibly be the next governor of North Carolina. Here's what he said at a church recently.
There's a movement in this country that is demonic and that is full of the spirit of Antichrist. It is the transgender movement. It's time for grown-ups and time for Christians to start standing up and being unafraid to tell the truth. Come after me if you want to. I don't care. You want my head? Here it is right here. Come on, come get it. I don't care because it's time for us to stand up. Now, I'm not afraid to stand up and tell the truth about that issue. They're dragging our kids down into the pit of hell, trying to teach them that mess in our schools. Tell you like this, that ain't got no place at no school. 2 + 2 don't equal transgender. It equals 4. We need to get back to teaching them how to read instead of teaching them how to go to hell.
Which I thought was an amazing line, teaching them how to go to hell. So there are some people fighting back. I like this guy, Mark Robinson. This guy started out of nowhere. He was at a town hall meeting one day talking about a mass shooting, and I believe it was the Marjorie Coleman shooting, talking about people losing their gun rights. And he went from there and ended up running for lieutenant governor of North Carolina, and he got elected. And I think he's going to be the next governor of North Carolina. He's trying to pull it back. He is a conservative. People in North Carolina, and read his story because it's amazing. Mark Robinson, again, is his name. Read his story because he went after the local newspaper in North Carolina, in his hometown, who did a depiction of him in Klan gear. And he held a press conference and went after that newspaper and called them racist. He called them out. The newspaper has since apologized from what I hear, but he is not afraid. He is a true African-American conservative. And again, he is in the trenches, on the ground, at the black churches, talking to them and bringing attention to what's going on in the schools and getting black people involved. So even if those black people never vote for Republicans, I'm sure they'll vote for him. And I'm certain that they'll vote against any measures that will allow transgenders or allow teachers to teach about gender equality in kindergarten through third grade. So that's going to be an amazing election to watch should he run. At least I'm hoping that he does. This is an interesting story, folks. Now, folks, the news media is corrupt. We know that. But I saw this story and I couldn't help but ask myself, is somebody pretending we don't see what we see? Let me give you some background. So in Jacksonville, North Carolina, a teacher who is fed up with his class. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer Breen has a comment. And Jennifer, you keep promising that you and I are going to talk, and we never get that opportunity to talk. I'm going to send you my cell phone number, so we can talk. Because an old friend of ours and I are in communication. I'm getting ready to work with him again. Anyway, 1% of the population is transgender. That's right. Which really makes you wonder what is really going on here. It's definitely not appeasement to the trans community at 1%. No, it's not. Let me explain what this is, Jennifer. It's really simple. Okay. Leftist dogma means that you must be the champion of any marginalized community, even if it contradicts another. It's literally, it's tantamount to jumping out a window for any cause. It's always suicidal for what the main cause is. Now, you think about the circular firing squad that always seems to happen when these leftists get together and they're promoting the whatever rights for whatever group. That's always what it is. I agree with you there, Amy, and I'll read Amy's comment in a second. But Jennifer, this is what they're doing. Now think about this. If you know that every time a marginalized group can fundraise for you, right, can get you fundraiser money, then leftists will go full boat to support said cause. They don't care about the casualties of whatever group they will end up marginalizing or demonizing thereafter. So imagine this. We had in 2012 the war on women, right? And that was the theme from everybody on the Democrat Party. It was everywhere, right? It was always a war on women, always a war on women, always a war on women. Women were a marginalized group. We must protect women. We must care about women's issues. Men couldn't say things about women's issues because you didn't have a uterus. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the transgender things becomes the soup du jour. That becomes the flavor of the month. And what does that do? That ends up pushing another minority out of the group because remember, they've already got the women's vote. This has happened way before what we've seen recently. And I'll give you a perfect example. The African-American community. When you can ensure that 80% of the African-American community are going to vote one way, the only time you ever have to deal with their issues is when it comes to election day. You don't really have to pay attention. And now, in most cases, you don't even have to push that hard for those things. You'll use the usual, Trayvon Martins, the George Zimmermans, and the George Floyds as a means to get more people to come out and vote, if you're desperate and things like that. But their causes aren't really important, right? No reparations, The conversations during the primaries were about reparations, but there was no real actual plan to, right? Nobody federally was going to do anything about reparations. They kept saying, we'll have a discussion. That was enough to get people, oh, we're motivated now. We're going to get them to the polls. That happens all the time. But this thing with the transgender is they know that motivates money, right? Corporations are all in. Disney, big donors for the Democrat Party. So they make this big deal about transgender, even though they're only 1%. But they know it's a great fundraising tool. And who gets pushed aside? Women. Why? Because you know what? We got the women's vote already. So we can, we don't have to really care about that because what are we doing on polling for women? Oh, 60%? All right, fine. We can go over here and deal with this. And they'll immediately go and deal with this, even if it contradicts the last marginalized group that they were fighting for 4 or 5 years ago. That's usually how it goes. Sadly, as inarticulate as that was, but that's pretty much what the deal is. So it has everything to do with fundraising dollars. It never has to do with anything as far as the cause is concerned. I mean, you look at Joe Biden now. Just recently, he gave this speech. I think I just played it yesterday. He's saying how we're doing everything to fight these transgender laws in Florida and in Texas. But the real question is what is Joe Biden going to do? He can't stop legislation in Florida from passing a law that protects parents against teachers. Like, what's he going to do? Sue them? Probably not. Oh, I thought I had this video. Is it all ready to go? And I've lost it. Anyway, it's gone. Hey, what's going on, LA? Anyway, I had it up and now it's gone. But anyway, back to my next one. And what was this? Oh, Amy writes, they're slowly trying to make pedophilia a lifestyle instead of a crime. Well, let me make this argument for that claim, Amy. Remember when we all said in 2004, I said hello, LA. In 2004, we said that gay marriage was never going to be the end of it because it was a slippery slope. You never knew what was going to end up happening after the fact, right? Because once you redefine marriage, marriage can be anything you want to. And what did the activists say? No, that's not true. You Republicans, you're Nazis, you're fascists. You're always concerned this is nothing more than homophobia. We just want gay marriage. We're never, ever going to ask for all of these crazy things. And we were partially at fault because we said stupid things like, yeah, well, if we have same-sex marriage, what's going to happen next? People are going to want to marry their dog. And then people looked at us like we were ridiculous instead of really pointing to the things that mattered. And that is, as I said, I was one of the only people who said it in 2004. Once you redefine marriage, and the Supreme Court redefines marriage, marriage can be anything that anyone says, and it will be constitutional thanks to the Supreme Court. Now, what did I mean by that? What if I decide that tomorrow I want to marry Roseanne and another woman? I want to have multiple wives. Who is to stop me? Because constitutionally, or at least to the Supreme Court, marriage is no longer defined as the union between a man and a woman. So now it's anything that you want. We changed the definition. That's how that works. So do I think that pedophilia is going to be a lifestyle? I don't think so. I think that's a bridge too far. That's like asking whether or not murder will be okay. If that were to ever case, let me put it to you like this. If that ever becomes a lifestyle, it'll be 100 years past today. Okay? Because there is no normalization of that. There just isn't. Morally, I don't care who you are. I don't care how liberal you are and how crazy you are. That's never going to happen. Because even the most liberal among us aren't for that. It's a very small segment of our population. Very small. They're even smaller than transsexuals as far as a percentage that are for that or would even condone that behavior. White Mike says they want to stup your kid and eventually our dog. John says, can I marry my house so the mortgage company can't take it away? You might be able to. Who knows? Anyway, I wanted to move on. I got caught up in that. But Jennifer, thank you, as always, for coming to check us out. And please, I'll send you my cell phone number if I haven't already so we can talk. Anyway, I was saying this thing about the Jacksonville, North Carolina teacher. So a Jacksonville, North Carolina teacher is caught on tape ranting at his kids about their behavior. And he says something that all of us can relate to. Backstory. When I was a kid, I remember a teacher saying this to me. It doesn't matter whether or not you pass or fail. I still get paid. And that stuck with me because it let me know exactly what teachers were doing. I started to immediately understand what teachers' unions were about, what tenure was about. I knew about all of that stuff in the 6th grade, that all of that stuff was protecting the teachers, right? Didn't matter. There's no margin of error for a teacher if they have tenure. There's no margin of error if they're in the union. Doesn't matter how many kids pass or fail. Their job was protected, right? Working for a public worker union or being in a public worker union for that matter, that their jobs were protected. So it wasn't result-oriented. It really didn't matter whether or not I passed or failed. So this teacher in Jacksonville, North Carolina said that, and this young lady, she recorded it. And I've been battling what I should play first, but I'm just going to play what the teacher said. And I want you to pay attention to not just what the teacher says, but to the young lady who has the camera on herself. Please forgive her for smacking her gum during this video. But listen to what the teacher says and her facial expressions.
I am here because I want to be here. I somewhat enjoy this job. You need something from me. I need nothing from you. You can go through life and live on the system, draw your paycheck on the 1st and the 15th from my taxes, and live just an absolute horrible life. I don't care. You can be another statistic. I don't care. That's on you. And if you think it's funny, I can take you down to the county office and we'll pull the numbers. And if you don't like my language, I don't give a because you've said worse. And if you, again, Samaya, you leave too. Get out now. Get out.
I'm not.
Get out now.
So there she is laughing as the teacher's telling the facts. You don't want to learn here. You're just going to end up being a statistic. You need something from me. I don't need anything from you. He's protected. You're just going to come right through his doors and go right out his doors, and he's going to teach another group of ne'er-do-wells who will probably do nothing in their lives, just as this young lady's doing. But she is smiling. She's having a good time, and she's recording it. That white man has Negro fatigue. Is that like a PTSD? But okay, but you see the girl there, right? She's laughing. She finds it funny. She's smacking her gum. Does this girl look like she's distraught? Absolutely not. And every news organization has seen this video. But watch this.
Samaya Josie is a sophomore at Southwest High School who recorded a part of the outburst on her phone. She says she started recording because she didn't think people would believe her when she told them what the teacher said to the class.
Because I am done playing with you idiots.
I was scared. I didn't know what to do.
Samaya Josie says it all happened during first period after the teacher told the students to put their phones and computers away. She says one student didn't listen and then made a joke. She said that's when the rant began. But what bothered her the most was this comment made to the class.
You can go through life and live on the system, draw your paycheck on the 1st and the 15th from my taxes, and live just an absolute horrible life. I don't care. You can be another statistic.
She said that's the part that shocked her the most. Does that look like a girl who's shocked? Or does that girl look like someone who's laughing? Who found what he said funny? But listen to what she says to the reporter. And the reporter's seen this video.
I felt like what he was saying was wrong. I felt like it was racially motivated.
Oh, shut the F up.
It was disrespectful. Your job is to encourage me and to push me to be the best that I could be.
Stop it, Negro. Stop it.
Even though it wasn't said directly to me, it just felt like, dang, that's how you really think of us.
No, he didn't say anything about what he thinks of you. Not at all. And they all saw the video, but they are all trying to make this out to be that he, in some way, was insulting to them because he told them you obviously weren't listening. You obviously didn't care. And expressly said, hey, at the end of the day, this is to benefit you. But if you don't care, I'm sick of it. And he was. Oh, and folks, he was so sick of it, he resigned the next day.
Her mother, Nikki Josie, says the teacher crossed the line with his language and with his aggression.
Even as her mother, even to listen to the video the first time, I had tears form in my eye.
And if you don't like my language, I don't give a because you've said worse. And if you, again, Samaya, you leave too. Get out now. Get out.
I'm not.
Get out now. I didn't.
Nikki says while she may not condone her daughter's actions that day, she defends them.
I think the respect went out the window a long time ago. And truthfully, that was fight or flight mode for her.
When you look back, do you think you should have done anything differently? Or do you stand by everything that happened that day?
I don't think I did anything wrong. If you was in my shoes, how would you feel? Like, what would you have done?
She said, what would you have done? Obviously, paid attention in English. Yeah, Amy, we don't know. We don't know exactly what set him off. That's what the news reporter, the next piece of that video was the news reporter saying what they were trying to find out exactly what set him off. And I can only assume he was trying to get a hold on his class and they were being unruly. He said in the beginning, they also say that he was asking students to put their computers and their phones away and people weren't listening. And I guess he got fed up. But he did immediately resign. He left the school. He's out, but everybody's, of course, trying to locate him. They haven't released his name, thankfully, because he wasn't fired. He did nothing wrong to any kids. He didn't harm anybody. He just quit. Just said, I'm out. So I thought that was interesting that, they are asking this girl whether or not she could do anything different. Yeah, I'd say probably pay attention in class. What would you have done? I don't know what to tell you. How many of you know Mark Dice? I think I played him here enough. Like there's Ami Horowitz, Mark Dice, and Benny on the Block is what I play here. They're three of my favorite guys who do these Man on the Streets videos. Mark Dice is my favorite out of all of them. I love Ari. Ari's really smart. But he's always in New York. And I hate New York. So that's the reason why I hate watching those videos, because it's so easy and so predictable. But I still like Ami. But Mark Dice is in California. And he is in Southern California. And they are the most liberal in that town. And he always does these provocative videos where he's asked people direct questions and they don't know what they're talking about. Things about history. He'll ask, on the 4th of July, he'll ask things about the independence of our country. On Columbus Day, he'll ask about Columbus Day. Well, this time, he went to go talk about reparations. And everyone's talking about reparations. Everyone's talking about reparations anywhere and everywhere. So Mark Dice wanted to talk to young liberal whites in California about how they felt about reparations. But then he did went one step further in asking them whether or not they would actually like to contribute in real time.
Excited about the reparations?
Yes, it's about time. I feel like we deserve it.
How much money do you think you should get? Maybe like a month for that.
How much money do you think we should get?
For the reparations.
I don't know.
They're talking about $500 a month or something like that?
Oh, I think more than that.
More than that. They're talking about finally doing that now.
Sure.
You think that's a good idea?
Yes.
and long overdue. $500 a month or something is what they're saying. So you think you support the reparations? That's, I guess, the question.
I absolutely do.
Okay. And you want to help out? You support the $500 a month? I just want to ask you to Venmo the next black person that comes walking by here to help out with the reparations.
You're a racist piece of
Is $500 a month enough, I guess, is the question to the black people?
No, I think it should be more.
You think it should be more? How
Yeah.
much do you think would be fair?
2,000.
2,000 a month?
Easily.
And we want to help people get started on that because it hasn't passed yet. So just wanted you to pull out your wallet and give, maybe $50 or something to one of these.
Oh, these are my homeboys. They ride with me for free.
Well,
That's enough.
Okay, this guy over here then. Sir?
I don't got cash.
We could cash app him. How you doing, bro? This guy has something he wants to say to you. He wants to cash app you. How much you want to cash app him?
So again, with these so virtuous people who care about black people getting their reparations. When rubber meets the road, I ain't got no cash on me. And Mark Dice goes, oh no, you can cash app him. Brilliant. Brilliantly done. And it's done with a straight face, no laughing. He doesn't break, which I love about Mark Dice. It's just so matter of fact, it's done so well. I can't. I would have broken. Every time I would have broke. I would have broke every time that one of these lunatics would have lost it. But he doesn't. He's steadfast in getting these people to Venmo black people money. So to watch these people squirm when they're forced to. Let's put your money where your mouth is. They all retreat.
I don't have my phone on me.
Yes, you do. Hold it. Open it.
I don't think 500 is enough. If that's what they're trying to start with, good for that. But at the end of the day, I think that they definitely deserve a lot more than that.
We also want to, help out with the reparations. So, we'll take, any extra cash that you have and we'll give it to, the next black person that walks by.
I'm a very conscious person with cash.
I feel like you guys are being sarcastic.
No, we want to do this right now. Or cash app.
I don't have cash on me.
It's okay. You can Venmo them.
Carry cash.
You can Venmo.
I can't right now.
It'll take 10 seconds. Let's just go find one you can Venmo them, like just $20, just to start, just as a start.
Ask me in 20 minutes.
Can you believe? And again, listen, there's a broader thing here that I'm going to get into. But just $20, man. Just $20. Rama says that top is plenty of reparations for me. You're funny. Anyway, just $20. And these people are twisting themselves into a pretzel to get the hell out of there. They won't even give up $20. Now, there's a broader point to all of this. This is why I play it. And I think that Mark Dice is playing into exactly what I'm thinking. And it's not about whether or not these people are honest. And it's not about whether or not they would put their money put their money where their mouth is. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's so much broader than that. But I'll get into that because I want you to listen to the rest of this.
That's when I'm coming back.
The question is whether $500 a month is enough.
I'm not going to say it is or it isn't. I'm just going to continue to say
it's a good start.
It's a good start. There you go.
And we want to help start as well. So we just want to ask you to take out your wallet and give, just $20 here to the next black person just to help out. This guy's going to give you some reparations over here. So you got Cash App on you? Is $500 a month enough, do you think?
More.
No. How much do you think would be?
Dude, $1,500 plus.
$1,500 a month?
I mean, come on. What are you thinking? Unemployment's, people are getting so much money now.
And you think $1,500 a month maybe to help
anything,
end the
dude.
Systemic thingamajig that's going on?
Thingamajig?
The systemic racism. Since you support reparations, maybe you can give one of these black fellows here, maybe $20 or something just to help out. We want to.
Well, I'm poor myself, bro. Like, hell no.
Well, but you've benefited from white privilege, though. Give me $10. I want you to give it to the next black person that comes down just to show that you care.
Good point. White Mike says, I'll pay any living slave. I'm with you, man. What Mark is clearly showing here, it's not the hypocrisy. These people are too dumb to realize that their money would be paid to. And if they were forced to know that their own money, that their tax dollars were going to black people who may or may not have been descendants of slaves, if they knew their tax dollars were going there, they would probably be against it. Because literally put to the challenge of just giving $20, they are losing their minds. You know, they think it's a joke. And it's like, just give your fellow, because again, they're leading you to believe they are so honest, virtuous, and kind, right? They have compassion. Yeah, man, it should totally be $1,500, even more. For slavery, yeah, give them all the money you can. How about $20 to the next black person you see? Ooh, and they lose it. Which it shows exactly who these people are. There's nothing about these people that's real or honest or compassionate. These are what I call lazy boy liberals. They can do anything and everything from their cell phones or their laptops that makes them liberal. They don't have to donate to anything. They don't have to really show up for any cause. They can lay back on their lazy boy and protest from Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, or whatever. They don't have to be involved. And again, when put to the challenge, not even $20. Black people aren't even worth the $20 in their pocket. Damn. That says a lot. So when I hear a lot of these knuckleheads talk about, you know, we need people to be kinder and gentler and understanding and fair, that's all bull. People are selfish. People are myopic. People are self-centered and egomaniacal. That's who people are, especially these generations. These younger generations, it is all about them. You don't believe me? Follow me. Well, shoot, I say follow me on my darn thing. Become a subscriber. But you know what I mean. I am a well-sought-after radio host. They are not slacktivist. Oh, man, what a great line. I love that. I don't know if that's yours, Rama, but I love that. Slacktivist is perfect. That's indeed what they are. They don't have to give up a thing. They could just complain, which I find interesting. Okay, that was that. What's the name? Oh, anyway, sorry, moving on. Anybody ever heard of Chris Smalls? Apparently Chris Smalls is the new Amazon union president. Apparently a vote happened in New York to unionize. It wasn't that close. It was like 1,500 votes to 1,100 votes. But now there's an Amazon union in New York City. And Chris Smalls is the union president. And apparently he has a rap career coming too, because only people I know with gold teeth are rappers.
Chris, do you feel that the Democratic Party is still the party of working people?
I want to believe that. You know, they claim to be. They definitely joined other campaigns. I seen it myself. I was down in Bessemer last year. I seen how the Democrats supported, you know, their campaign. I wish we would have had the same, but unfortunately that wasn't the case up here.
Why do you think that was?
I just think that a lot of people didn't believe in us. They didn't believe that we would make it this far. They didn't believe in what we had with the grassroots worker-led movement. They thought from the beginning that we should be joining up with a more established union. And I think they just wrote us off. You know, they didn't expect us to actually get to an election and actually win.
And have you heard from any Democratic leaders here in Washington, people at the White House or members of Congress who've championed workers' rights Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example?
No, I haven't. Unfortunately, not yet. They can still redeem themselves. Once again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. But, I'm hoping that they'll come around and do a lot more than what they've done in the past 11 months. Now that we are officially victorious, it's definitely the time for them to get involved and help these workers and put together some laws or pass the PRO Act to help us organize and continue moving forward.
Yeah, that's going to be a shit show, pardon my language, out in New York City. But then again, that's the reason why I'll never go back. It's over for that town. John says, if those white kids had the decency to learn the history, then perhaps they would dig into their pocket. Probably, I don't know. I don't care. Look, that white kid never owned a slave at all. And I doubt if he's from California or his family's from California, they ever owned a slave anyway. So he didn't owe a black kid a dime. But to run around talking about how black people should get money and then ask for $20, you look like, the guy's got 3 heads, obviously shows that you're a hypocrite. You don't really want to give them money. You just say you'd like them to get money because you don't think that it's ever going to come out of your pocket. It's ever going to cost you. But when you start noticing taxes are being raised on the behalf of those people and it's coming out of your pocket, you'll make that you'll make that determination. Anyway, so they have a labor union now. I guess Amazon has a labor union. What are you going to say? Oh, that's right. Big news. Anybody know who that guy is? I just talked about him yesterday. That guy right there, that is the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain. That's right. Big foot in his mouth, Ron Klain, who says that there is nothing that the White House has to worry about with relation to Hunter Biden. There is nothing that the White House has to worry about related to Hunter Biden. Well, that was that was Sunday. Not so much today. Ron Klain is a little bit of hot water now because new emails revealed that Ron Klain was emailing Hunter Biden secretly. He even said in the email, shh, don't tell anybody I'm asking you for this money. Shh, keep it low key. Dead serious. This is a report from Fox News. Jonathan Turley. A constitutional law professor, I believe at Georgetown.
All right, let's bring in Jonathan Turley, George Washington law professor,
and George Washington
contributor. Jonathan, great to see you. So I don't know, where do you think all of this ends up? This was fascinating to hear from Bill Maher. Puts it in a nutshell.
Now, 2 years later, the New York Times and the Washington Post have come around to say, okay, there was something there. It looks like the left-wing media just buried the story because it wasn't part of their narrative, and that's why people don't trust the media.
I mean, that's it, right? In a nutshell?
It is. I mean, the fact is that these media outlets had no choice but to pivot because there is a serious risk now of an indictment coming out of Delaware. That indictment, very likely, if it does come out, would cite evidence from the laptop. So they had to make this pivot in anticipation of that risk. But it has left this real unintelligible position. They're willing to recognize the authenticity of the laptop now, but they don't really want to talk about what's on the laptop, which are hundreds and thousands of emails and pictures, some of which refer to the President of the United States.
And again, that's the part no one's talking about. Everybody wants to acknowledge the laptop, that the documents that are on there. The fact that Tony Bobulinski confirms that Hunter Biden referred to his father as the big guy and big Celtic or Celtic, whatever, because, Biden's Irish. But there's all of these other references to stuff that's in the laptop, which the New York Post has vetted, has gone through, that implicates the White House. In essence, not just, when I say the White House, we're talking about the White House, Joe Biden as vice president in as early as 2013 and 2014. We'll get into that in a second, which involves Ron Klain.
And what's really odd about this new narrative, which is not just coming from the White House, but from these same media outlets is that maybe Hunter Biden did engage in a multi-million-dollar influence peddling scheme. Maybe he did commit crimes, but it has nothing to do with the president. Well, that's just not true. I mean, these emails refer to the president. They use code names like the big guy or Celtic. In one email, a person is warned not to use the president's name. But more concerning are references to accounts that might have paid some money to the president and paying off bills or taxes. There's a reference to an office that the president and first lady would use that is allegedly funded by a Chinese firm. All of those are connections to the president. Doesn't mean the president committed crimes, but the suggestion that there's no connection is perfectly bizarre.
Yes. Now, what he is talking about, Jonathan Turley, here, is that we found out from these emails that Ron Klain sent to Hunter Biden from the laptop was that they needed some $20,000 to pay for restoration of this vice presidential pad. This was during the time that Joe Biden is vice president of the United States. Ron Klain was the chief of staff for the vice president, which is why he's the chief of staff now, is because Joe Biden knows him. Ron Klain contacts Hunter Biden in this email telling him, hey, come up with this money, keep it down. We don't want the air of impropriety, because he knows it's inappropriate. So in essence, he is lobbying the vice president's son to go lobby money to pay for the restoration of this vice presidential pad where Joe Biden and Jill Biden would be staying. So what does Hunter do? He goes out and he lobbies people for this $20,000. And they are incremental checks of $2,000 apiece that end up going to Ron Klain. These $2,000 checks, as they keep coming to Ron Klain and to the White House, again, these are funded by Chinese oligarchs. That's the fundraising. So what does he do? The money is clearly going from Chinese oligarchs to Hunter Biden to go to his father. Now, ipso facto, that's pay to play. It's got to be. It has to be pay to play. You don't just up $20,000 to the vice president in the restoration of a home that he's going to be living in, and you don't get anything in return. The oligarchs don't just up $20,000 for nothing. And then Hunter Biden is allowed to go to China with his father on Air Force Two and come back with a payday of $4.8 million that goes to Joe Biden's brother and to his son, and nothing went to Joe Biden? Joe Biden not once says, hey, what are you doing on the plane? Oh, I'm going to China, Dad. You mind if I hitch a ride? Nah, no problem. And you don't ask him why he's there? Come on, man.
What does this tell you about how this will ultimately be handled by the Justice Department? The fact that you've got Ron Klain, chief of staff to President Biden, saying he's confident that Hunter did the right thing, his words, as this federal investigation heats up. And you've got the president himself, not shockingly, still standing by his son. So where does that leave the DOJ?
Well, it puts them in an untenable position because you have this absolute defense from the White House. Attorney General Merrick Garland has refused to appoint a special counsel. I have no idea how he has reached that conclusion. Now, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware may be aggressive. He may, in fact, indict Hunter Biden. But there is a serious appearance, if not a real conflict of interest here. It's impossible to investigate these emails without running across the president repeatedly. And so how do you do that as the Justice Department under this president? The case for a special counsel is absolutely clear here. But the White House is going to have trouble with this new narrative. Hunter Biden may be many things, but he is certainly not without blame. I mean, this was a raw and open influence peddling scheme worth millions of dollars. And the Biden family is known for influence peddling. They have been accused of influence peddling, including the uncle or brother of the president, for years.
And that's the interesting part about this is, again, remember, you got Merrick Garland, who's sitting there as the Attorney General. Imagine the roles being flipped, right? This is William Barr, who's supposed to be investigating Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr. People would be screaming from the rafters and say, we can't leave this. He appointed William Barr. We're not going to have him investigate the guy who appointed him. But Merrick Garland is supposed to be in charge. There's no special counsel at all, and Merrick Garland wouldn't even think of it. But we know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that these emails implicate Joe Biden as a part of the person who got kickbacks for these gifts that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's brother got. We know it for a fact. This isn't something we're guessing. This is irrefutably truthful, and that's it. And I'm telling you, call me crazy, but I know that's why Jen Psaki's leaving. I know that's why that whole nonsense about her getting COVID a second time, that's all bull. I think she is leaving so she doesn't have to, because she can't spin this. If there's an indictment coming down the pike with the president's son and the president of the United States is implicated, it's either that or the 25th Amendment. Something's got to happen. And then lo and behold, who we left with? Oh, we're left with cackle. Oh, nobody wants that. Please, whatever you do, we cannot have that woman ending up in charge. I don't even know what I would do with myself if Kamala Harris became the president of the United States for any reason. That would be insane. Here's the rest of Jonathan Turley.
That's not doing the right thing. That is something that is a core and very common practice of corruption in Washington, D.C. If you want to influence powerful people, you give money to their siblings, spouses, and family.
It makes you wonder where all this would be today if the media wasn't running interference for Joe Biden and his son.
That's right. That's right, and they achieved their goal. I mean, the embarrassing thing for the U.S. media is they sort of looked like a state media going into the election. They killed the story. And after 2 years, they're being compelled now to deal with it. But by the way, we would never have this moment if it wasn't for Bill Barr and continuing this investigation. To his credit, Merrick Garland did not shut down the investigation. But they wouldn't have had to reach this point if this investigation was not green-lighted and protected by Bill Barr.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us on that, Jonathan Turley. Thank you.
Yeah. So with that, it's going to be a very, very interesting fall. Or at least I hope it'll be. It's time to get into Dr. Fauci. And yes, I am going into overtime. So hang the F out, folks, because we're going to hang out for a little bit. I wanted to get to this Dr. Fauci thing a long time ago, but you know what? It's always better at the end of the show because I have so much that I want to get into. So hear me out. First, let's talk about this. Dr. Fauci was talking to Sanjay Gupta and to Anderson Cooper. I played this video on this show. And the argument or the conversation that we were having on the show was about natural immunity. And everyone here knew we are undecided, or would never been undecided on the fact that natural immunity was something we knew as kids, right? At least teenagers. We learned it in science, that natural immunity exists. But for some odd reason with the coronavirus, the natural immunity was a myth now. Now it needed to be investigated. Not so much. You might remember this.
Already had COVID, I'm protected, and now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that.
So he did not have a firm answer on natural immunity. That was the question he was asked by Sanjay Gupta. Now, first of all, if Dr. Sanjay Gupta is worth his weight in medical degrees, He doesn't have to ask Dr. Fauci about natural immunity. Okay? He does not have to reserve the right to get Dr. Fauci's opinion on natural immunity. You're Dr. Sanjay effing Gupta, stupid. Did you forget that? You've been running around giving people medical advice. In fact, on WMAL, my Washington talk station, we get interrupted during our commercial breaks with a bit called Living a Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Will you tell the rest of us how we can live a better life? Because you're, again, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. You don't need Dr. Fauci to clear for you whether or not natural immunity is a thing. You're asking Dr. Fauci like he's the authority? Just tell people whether or not natural immunity exists. And it does. Otherwise, you're a peddler of the vaccine, which is what he was. That being said, Dr. Fauci in 2004, because again, SARS-CoV-2 is a flu.
But she's had the flu for 14 days. Should she get a flu shot?
Well, no. If she got the flu for 14 days, she's as protected as anybody can be, because the best vaccination is to get infected yourself.
And
so if she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu,
she should not get it again.
No, she doesn't need it, because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
The most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself. Sound crazy? Because it's not. But Dr. Fauci, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. effing Fauci. I learned a lot about him after reading this whole Vanity Fair article. And it's amazing what I learned. I want to show this to you, if I can. Let me see here. This is up here. In this Vanity Fair article, they wrote something which I thought was interesting. And it was about Peter Daszak, the head of Eco Alliance, who got the funding from Dr. Fauci at the NIAID, and Eco Alliance gave that money to the Wuhan lab. Now, it turns out, as far back as 2013, Peter Daszak was trying to get a meeting with Dr. Fauci. The reason why he wanted to get a meeting with Dr. Fauci is because Dr. Fauci is the golden child for government grants. He's the money man. He's the one who is doling out millions of dollars to all of these organizations. And Peter Daszak at Eco Alliance was hemorrhaging. They were not fundraising well. They were not getting any grants. And for obvious reasons. The obvious reasons were Eco Alliance was designed to predict and stop pandemics from happening. Their track record was abysmal. In all of their years of existence, even now, they have failed, if not ever, prevented or predicted a pathogen or a pandemic. Ever. They suck at their job. And they weren't getting anywhere with fundraising. They were hemorrhaging. They needed Dr. Fauci. And the objective of Peter Daszak was to not only get money, but to get money for a research that he believed was really, really important. And that was, in his mind, that the next pandemic was going to come from animals. And he needed to do research that would find out where that animal would have said disease that would end up being transferable to man and would then predict our next pandemic. But we need to do testing. We need to do gain-of-function testing to see where this potential disease inside the animal could then infect men. That was EcoHealth's, pretty much their MO. That's what they were designed to do. And they couldn't get funding for this. No one would give them a dime. So Dr. Fauci became his last resort in 2013. And every time he tried to get a meeting with him, he never could. Till finally someone told him there was a way to get to Dr. Fauci. And it was only one way. And folks, when I tell you what that one way was, you are going to laugh your ass off. From the Vanity Fair article, this is what it said. On September 9th, 2013, Daszak emailed Fauci's senior advisor, David Morens, to see if the sought-after NIAID chief would be available as a panel speaker. Morens emailed back recommending that Daszak write to Tony Fauci directly, thanking him for meeting with you all recently, and then inviting him to be a member of the Cosmos Club discussion. That way, it is personal and it doesn't look cooked by us. Though Fauci declined the invitation after he got that invitation and several others, Daszak kept trying. By February of 2016, Morens passed along a valuable tip. Fauci normally says no to almost everything, unless ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox are all there with cameras running. If he were asked to give the main talk or the only talk, that might increase the chances. Well, lo and behold, folks, guess who showed up? None other than Dr. Fauci after he got the invitation. When he found out that there were going to be cameras at the event. Does that sound familiar to you? So if you're wondering why Dr. Fauci was everywhere, in anywhere where there was a camera, why he was showing up at anything where he was invited, on blogs, on podcasts, everywhere he was showing up, it was because Dr. Fauci was always in the shadows. He wouldn't show up unless the cameras were rolling and unless he was the featured speaker. That came from his own assistant. He was a camera whore. And everything we thought about it was like, wow, he's everywhere. He loved being this patron saint of runny noses. He loved the camera. And he can't stay away. Anyway, with all of that, I just wanted to say that. Please read the Vanity Fair article. It is for free. You can find it for free. Just go online. Just put Vanity Fair Fauci. The article is right there. It is long. It's exhaustive. And it's about a bunch of things that Eco Alliance did. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow because I have some of that documentation. And we'll run it over all of that stuff as well tomorrow. I've got an early morning tomorrow. I just realized how far we are over time. But anyway, you know that sound, folks. It's time for me to get out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Also remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You, have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. And we hope to see you back here tomorrow, too. Be good to each other. And remember that I love you, always will. Holla!
There's only one Reese on the radio.